Because when you start these projects, like,
Right.
then you put your numbers together and
Yeah.
you get a rough estimate of what you think those are going to be, including rents and expenses and interest rates at the time,
Right.
and what you think you're going to get for loans.
Yep.
Well, that all changed.
Oh, totally. Like 3 times, right? I mean, really, by the time you open the doors, you're 4 years into a project.
Correct.
And to have you never have a crystal ball for that, right? You could never just make that number. You never tag that number, right? But the reality is what you're putting together is, in my opinion, one of the safest bets. You've got the bank double checking that. You've got an appraisal. All of your rents are based on now,
Correct.
not 4 years from now. So you're not getting a trended rent where if you go in and, buy a value add, the bank's going to look at that and say, yeah, if you do these improvements, maybe we can see this, maybe your bridge loan is going to turn out to be that. The banks are really grounding you in today. So they're looking at today's prices to build. They're looking at today's rents to build. They're looking at the capital that you're going to need. So you're coming in with higher capital. And, usually if you're getting it built, as long as you're completing the project, you're coming out.
Yeah.
Typically, historically.
A lot of people don't realize, first of all, the lag. You
Right.
briefly talked about that. The lag, it's a year plus the plan if
Yeah.
it's zoned,
Yeah.
or if it's not zoned.
Right.
And then it's another year before you open.
Right.
And then it could be 1 to 2 years, depending on how big it is, just to stabilize. And
Right.
so the biggest risk during that time is actually the bank. I think because flat piece of land, no collateral.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So the bank's going, okay, what is this really going to be? What's it really going to cost? And so to your point, they're all over you, right?
Yeah. I mean, they'll bring in they'll bring in a cost specialist that goes through it, make sure that your numbers are correct, right? And then you have to spend all your money first, right?
Correct.
It's not like you show up at the closing table on a $100 million deal with your $30 million. You've got to go in and you buy the land and you pay for the plans and you get the permits and you probably have all the sewer and the water and the electrical done before their money starts to kick in. So
Which is out of pocket.
Yeah, no, that's all up front.
I don't think a lot of people understand that. Like,
no.
Let's walk through that process because, first you tie up the land, and the land could be, 3 million, 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, just the land.
Yeah.
Then you have all the soft costs.
Right.
And then
Right.
you have sometimes have some site work.
Yeah.
Right. And that you might not even have a loan at this point.
No, you probably won't. I mean, listen, let's just say that if you do have a loan at this point, you're probably in a little over your head.
Interest.
A little over your head,
Yeah.
But when you think about it, I mean, a set of plans on a 200-unit apartment complex is going to run you $800,000.
Correct.
Right.
Like, I don't know if people know that. That's a big number.
$800,000 for your plans, and then you've got the last project we did. It was $2.6 million for building permits.
Yeah.
Right, on 190 units. Then the land was $30,000 a door, right? So you're putting all these costs and you're paying these as you go, knowing that you're gonna get a loan when you're done.
And at the same time, the bank wants you to have liquidity.
Right.
That's the other part.
Right. And they discount the value of what you bought for land because they're going to have to fire sell it. Right.
I know. But the good thing is that, so why do we do it? I don't know. But the good point
It's
is,
the same reason people climb Kilimanjaro.
I guess so, twice. But you buy your dirt, and then once you actually once it's permitted for something else, it's actually worth more.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
you are creating value in the dirt, but you don't get it unless you sell it.
Right.
And you don't sell it because now you're building on it.
And the bank won't give you credit for that new value.
Correct.
They'll only give you value for your cost.
Correct.
That's the one thing. And when we develop, I mean, the reason you asked kind of facetiously, but the reason that we do develop is because we create the original value add.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, we take the hard costs, the sticks and stones, and we put the tenant in there. And once that cash flow hits, it totally changes the formula of what it's worth and why. Right?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, the numbers are quite significant. Like
they are.
Like on the deal that we're doing right now, our land plus construction is around 60.
Right.
And that's everything all in, even with all the increases and everything. And we're going to get into that in a minute. But it's worth $112 million.
Right.
Based on an appraisal just a month ago from CBRE.
So you're talking about
over 50 million in equity.
80% or 4x on your equity that was in the deal,
Correct.
right? Because you went into the deal on a $60 million deal, you went in with 30, 25,
Yeah,
20.
and you don't get that, of course, unless you sell it and it's leased up and stabilized at those numbers. But the point is that's what it's worth.
Right. But the reality is, you don't get that opportunity if you're buying something that's already existing.
That's right.
You're not going to 4x your investment in that time period.
That's right. It's really front-loaded, very front-loaded from a cash standpoint.
Right. It is. And it's
years.
The other side of it, too, Ken, is that you have to have the track record, right? I mean, you can't go in there where we've seen a lot of syndicators come into the space lately.
I know.
You know, you can't necessarily just come in and say, hey, you know what? I've got something that cash flows. We're going to put together some capital. I'm an ophthalmologist. We're going to be fine, right?
That's right.
You have to know what you're doing, and you have to have history in that industry because costs change. You've got all these expenses. You've got a 3-year window, 4-year window you're working in. You've got to have the history of being able to do that in order to get the bank to go, you're solid enough. We know you're actually going to finish this.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I think is going to happen or is happening, that, you know, the last 5 years or 3 years really, you know, new construction hasn't looked that sexy because you're getting 2.5% debt on, you know, a 1973 version, right?
That's right.
But the reality is that has, in my opinion, that's come to about the highest point it's going to get. And now as the debt is increased, that's got to level off, where new construction is your Class A, right? It's your brand new stuff. It's the product that everybody's moving into. It's where town is growing to. It's where the hot spots are coming from in whatever metropolitan area you're working in. And so you're going to see that's still going to be breaking ground on where the new rents are going to go. And as inflation continues to eat the bottom out of everybody's gas budget and grocery budget, I believe you're going to see a lot more, a lot less delinquency in your Class A properties because you're dealing with a clientele that isn't blowing all their discretionary income on rent.
Yeah. I know over the years, the way we've looked at construction or new construction is quite simple. Like in Phoenix right now, you know, mid-2000 product is selling for $400 to $500 a unit.
Right.
That's what it's selling for. Now it's done, completed, stabilized, let's just say. We're delivering properties at $250.
Right.
So in that case, it makes sense to build property and you've got all this potential equity,
right?
Because things are selling. Now, let's just flip all the way to Houston, which I'm buying in,
right?
Or Austin, which I'm buying in. I'm buying, you know, call it B plus A minus product at $200 a door.
Right.
So you wouldn't want to build there. So,
right.
So a lot of times, like you're in Boise, where arguably one of the hottest single family markets in the country for the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, that's really just got, like everywhere else, a lot of cold water thrown on that on that market.
For sure.
So now they're all there looking for a place to rent.
That's right.
You know?
No, it's true. But the reason multifamily works or new construction works for multifamily is because there's such a disconnect with what's being sold.